Chance Garage again. I am Chance, and last Torino episode, we got the thing running. Got some bugs to work out, but we didn't have any brakes. So step number one, we're gonna pull this master and the booster off. My uncle had a spare booster. I think he bought for the car and just set it in it, like most things get put off. But I think I'm gonna just go ahead and throw a master on it too, because it's old and wouldn't work great. So that'll be number one, and we'll see what else we dig into. Hopefully we're yard driving efficiently. Finally got this little booster and master out. It fought me a little bit. All the linkages are froze. Just went through, wire wheeled all the pivot points and greased them. And we're gonna slap this new rusty booster back in it, and should have a new master tomorrow. There's a day out coming through old O'Reilly's. So we'll stab it in and hopefully have brakes. It's time we evict the mouse. I've been just letting him hang out, but I gotta lay under here and I don't want to mess with him. And whatever got him, didn't get all of them, because now we have one running around the shop. So that's great. All right, next day, got a master cylinder. Got the master cylinder put onto the booster. So I went ahead and filled it up with fluid, and then what I'm doing for bench bleeding, I just bleed it on the car. So I've made a couple lines that just run and dump back into the cylinder. So fluid will come through, take any air with it, and dump it back into the reservoir, and hopefully get to a point where there's no more air. So we got the master cylinder bled. We've got a pedal. So far it doesn't appear that we've got a leak. But my assumption is soon wheel cylinders are gonna start dropping. But I'm gonna try and back it out and not keep going. So we'll see if we got any brakes. Back working on the Torino. A couple updates. So last time we left it, we put that new master on, got some brakes, waiting on wheel cylinders to fail. Me and my father-in-law went through the ignition system. If you remember, key switch wasn't killing the motor. Pulled that switch. So on these Torinos, there's a rod that's actuated by your tumbler. And that rod will go down to a box that will make the different connections for your on and your start and your off and accessories. And that box had kind of separated. And so everything had kind of fallen out of place, and really fell out of place whenever we pulled it off. But poked all the wires back together, cleaned the contacts, and we've got a key. So that's the update there. Goal for the day is gas tank. So it's a trunk mount. I've got one. I don't know if it's the right one, but we're gonna yank this one and see if it's gonna fit. So get all the stuff out of the trunk. He had some cool stuff in here. I'll kind of show you around. But not bad on rust. There's the tank. Looks like it's just held in with a bunch of 3/8 bolts around the perimeter. And this was the stash we had in the back. So cool set of old Ford hubcaps. ATF and starting fluid. And several hand tools and old jack and the old Firestone spare. I assume that's factory. I don't know, kind of cool stuff. So we'll start yanking this thing out. Good size hole. You can see a little better. It came out pretty easy. So there's the perimeter screws and then the ones holding the filler neck. One thing, it's got this whoop-de-doo right here where I guess it got rear-ended, where it's got that respray on the back end. As you can notice, there's a pile of fluid. It's somewhere around the pumpkin, so it's either brake line finally gave up or diff fluid, so we'll figure that one out later. Right now we'll just clean this up and get ready to throw the tank in. So I'm swinging a hammer, trying to knock this whoop-de-doo out. So, kinda, maybe the tank will fit. Just shot some black paint over the top of it, but I was swinging the old Tanya here, and that is some thick sheet metal. But one thing I wanted to show you guys, whenever I was hammering, this chunk of Bondo falls out. I mean, substantial. But here's where it came from. Shiny black paint underneath of it. Kinda, well, kinda comical. Alright, yank the sending unit out of the old tank. This is what we're working with. Filters, just disintegrated. That's scaly rust on there. It's bad. Don't have another one, so we may try and clean this up. Probably needs another one. Alright, this is what we got. So, a little bit of sandblasting, a little bit of wire wheeling, and got most of the big flaky stuff off. I cracked it open, cleaned up that contact in there. Seems to be functioning. I tested it while I was out of the car and works like it should. So hopefully this will get us by. If we have problems, we'll put a new one in. All right, so tank's solid. So just got standard old sheet metal screws with that rubber lining, and then around the perimeter. And I went through with a hammer. This thing's all kinds of twisted up, so just kind of flatten that lip out. I'll probably come back with some seam sealer around the edge just so it stays dry in here. I mean, there's a hole in the quarter, but what I did, I want to be right. So next one, I think we'll fire it up and see if it'll run off the tank. brakes are grabbing a little bit, and there's a pile of fluid under the back. I can't tell if it's that soft line there at the junction block on top of the rear end, or if it's coming out these wheel cylinders. Nonetheless, we're going to change them. So I got a couple wheel cylinders we're going to throw in, and hopefully be done with the brakes. That's hopefully. Alright, I'm scared to break those forward hubcaps, so we're going to take this screwdriver, put a dog leg in it, and make a little pry bar. So that's what we ended up with. Well, I should have went a little more, but we'll see how it does. This is what we're working with. It doesn't look that bad. I don't think it's blown out. There's some buildup around there. It's been leaking, but not too bad. Pads are getting kind of thin. Drum, I mean, it doesn't feel that bad. All right, disassembled masters out of it, and that's what we're working with. It's pretty bad. I don't see that plunger moving. Well, we'll go through, clean it up, wire wheel a lot of these. I think these plungers, we'll reuse those, but get her cleaned up and throw them back together. So everything got cleaned up. Just this adjuster, went through, wire wheeled it, greased some of the pivot points. Don't get carried away. Grease and brakes are bad. And we got our new cylinders with those plungers cleaned up. So we'll throw them in and put her all back together. So this side's wrapped up. New shoes, new cylinders. Dad talked me into putting a set of shoes on it. It was into the rivets, so I needed to. I'm gonna wrap up the other side and should be done. Update, got the trunk all put back together, spare in there and that jack. There's everything that was in it. So we got a tank. The rear brakes are done on both sides. I had developed a transmission leak. So it just got a bottle of, what is it? Lucas stop leak. But we're going to get tires tomorrow. And then maybe road test. So, cool. Found the culprit of the brake fluid leak. It's got some tabs on the rear end housing. I think it was right. Oops, right there. and it just rusted through. So I took some of that copper flex stuff and just made a couple of A new line. So should have brakes now. New wheels and tires. Really changes the look of a car. So these are 14s. Talk about hard to find. But we got the Cooper Cobras. So at this point, I think we're about ready. I know I've said like 5 times it's about ready to drive, but I'm serious this time. First time on the road in, let's just say 20 years. All right, we're back on the Torino. So I put a few miles on it. Not very many, but it's time to wash the mold off of it. You can see, let's go to the bad side. How about that? Just gotta get like that mold on the, that's pretty stout. It's got some more running down the quarters. Main goal is to just get the chunky stuff off of it and be real careful right there where that Bondo is just like flaky. May end up doing a polish cut and cut it with rubbing compound and try and bring back some of this black paint. But for now, get to where I can see out the windows and no big chunks. So we'll post you up on the Maverick. And it just got a bath. I mean, it's junky and all the paint's flaking off, but it can still be clean. That's the thing. I think I'm gonna hit the motor with some degreaser too, so we'll see what happens. Messed around and it got dark, but hopefully we can show y'all what's going on. Yeah, it doesn't show up well. So I took the old Torino to Lowe's, came out of Lowe's, and she's dead. Not gonna start, nothing. So our assumption is he killed the coil. Because I walked around Lowe's for 2 hours and came back and drove home. So we're gonna swap it out to this Excel Super Stack, not sure. But it's yellow. It looks kind of racy and old school. But whatever. It was either this for $30 or like AC Delco or something for like 26. Splurged with the $4 and got the Excel. Says the good stuff. Huh. So we're gonna throw this coil in, and got a temp sensor, so I actually know if it is overheating instead of just being stranded. That's it. But while we're in here, rats have eaten this one bare, so we'll put a new end on it. Seems to be doing pretty good. Gonna focus in on the dash where it warmed up. Coil seems to be doing like it's supposed to. We'll put a few miles on and see what happens. Well, I don't know if the coil fixed our problem, but we developed others. Kind of stabbed it a little bit coming down one of those back roads, and throttle stuck at like quarter throttle, so if you just let her run it'd hang out at like 55. Yanking on the pedal, nothing. It just it was stuck, so that was great. Made it home. We'll see what the heck happened. It's hot. I got problems. So, remember how I was saying transmission leak? I put some Lucas in it. And somebody's making a pull. Kind of. Anyway. Well, there's the old inspection. Anyways, the bell housing on the C6. So she is a leaker, and I mean bad. Like, it'll leak a quart a week just sitting. So as much as I hate to, I think we're gonna yank this. Trans is putting up a good fight. I wouldn't say that he's won yet. This is kind of where we're at. That is a 4x4 on top of a, what is that, a 6x6? We're just, that bell housing's tall. And I'm running out of jack stands, so you gotta give her a little lift. Yeah, I realize it's sketchy, but I'm just gonna chance it. Yeah, got the trans outside. It's soaking in degreaser. All the holes plugged, and we're gonna hit it with a pressure washer before we install the new seals. Well, it's not clean. It's cleaner. Clean enough. Let's say that. We'll blow it off with air hose and start throwing seals in it. Trans is clean, and took a couple days to get seals. C6 stuff is not in stock. Who knows? But one of the more difficult pieces will be this pump seal. So the leak was coming out of the bell housing. There's either front seal or the pump seal. And the front seal looks good. There's not a buildup of fluid around it. So that leaves the other option. So I hear these are not fun to change. So maybe fast motion of me just wailing on it. But I'm gonna pull these 7.5-inch bolts and then try and get that pump out of there. Alright, way easier than I thought it was going to be. So I watched this guy on YouTube just kind of pull that shaft out a little bit and tap it back and forth, and sure enough, she just pops right out. So we'll get that seal swapped out, and hopefully that was the majority of our leak. Sweet. So there's all, I assume all of our clutches and bands and things are back behind there, but I don't see anything just blatantly obvious. Still pretty cool. Alright, that did not take long at all. So in case anybody's doing this or so, I got this Pioneer brand seal, part number for the pump seal, and then a National, what is that, 331107N. Oops, 331107N. So, new front seal, new pump seal. It took like 20 minutes, man. It was not bad at all. And putting this front seal in, I've done it on with it in the transmission, and it's kind of a pain. With it up on the bench, this is so easy. Everybody should pull their pump. All right. Trans is back together. Remember that last frame whenever I was like, yeah, everybody should pull their pump. Don't do it, it's a trick. There are these washers with little ears on them behind all those clutch baskets that if they get out of line, things don't jive. And pretty much took this thing completely apart. So, yeah, just watch what you're doing. But new seal, front seal, pump seal, shift seal. That's most of them. Anyway, we're gonna put the torque converter back in it and throw it in the cure. Hopefully throw it in the car. And probably bring you back afterwards. It's hard to film under there, it's a pain. Alright, last I left it, transmission was sitting about right there. Now it's sitting about right there. Everything's hooked back up. We're gonna see if it moves under its own power. There's a good chance. We'll see what happens. Fired up all right. This is the test. Oh, she went in neutral, or reverse. Let's try drive. Boom. Positive turnage. We're moving. So they're not rigged the sides in the shop. Yeah. Feel good about what we accomplished here. We'll go for a road trip. Plus, I gotta catch this sweet rollover. Alright, first drive after the trans seal. Everything seems to be functioning. Let's catch this on film. Milestone. Amazing. Brand new car. Woo! I think that's the first lap it's made. I don't know. We'll get out here and see if it runs through first, second. Before it was struggling to kick down. I wonder if it wasn't just because of how crappy the trans was on fluid. But we'll make a few laps, see how she goes. Murder of crows taking off over there. We gotta talk about Torino. Today's the day she goes back to Gerald's. I would say it's roadworthy. Been driving it, hadn't quit me in a while. Not to say that it won't, but it hasn't in a while. well, let's kind of walk around it. So I don't know that I ever showed you guys after I washed it, but I washed it and it still looks dirty. Oh, interior, she needs a little bit of cleaning up still. Headliner, she need to delete on her. She's got some dirt up there. But green interior. I don't know if yeah, surely we've seen the inside. Walk around. But this thing's drug on way longer than I had planned. And I think, I mean, where do you stop? I mean, I could work on this thing for, I don't know, another year, but it's running and driving. I feel like that's a pretty good stopping point. And get some use out of it. I mean, the thing, it's a drivable car. So we'll take it to Gerald's, probably go for a rip with him. Transmission's doing great after we threw that back in there. Probably put 100 miles on it since we put that in there and no leaks at all. So, all right, that may be the end of the old Torino. Well, for a little while. If something happens, I'll catch back up with Gerald. Probably need to put a starter in it one day, but this is the end for today.